Janet, on occasion, and so playing the Total War Warhammer Battle Replay. And as you can see, I have the Green Tide with me. I've got a massive Savage Orc army, which isn't completely lore-friendly, because for some reason Skarsnik's leading them. But I like his anti-large against Bretonnia, so screw it. Also, I've got a Night Goblin Shaman, so I'm not quite sure why the two most elite guys are, you know, goblins for this Savage Orc army. They must have promised a big fight. Which is actually pretty Skarsnik, isn't it? Just manipulating people into doing his bidding. So, yeah. So there's going to be a big fight. So, obviously I've gone with Savage Orcs in the front, a lot of them. And then I've got Savage Orc Biggins in the back, again, a lot of them. And I've also got a couple of Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins for a bit of extra anti-large, but a bit more manoeuvrable. So that's fun. So if we go over and have a look at this guy's army, so he's got a very tight formation here, which is great for me. So he's got men-at-arms with shields there, he's got some spearmen-at-arms, some more spearmen-at-arms on the other side, he's got a couple of men-at-arms in the front, he's got some peasant bowmen, he's got some foot squires in the back. So this will change though. He's also got some Knights of the Realm. You know what, I'm going to speed things up now, because actually there's a long way to walk in this one. So there's Knights of the Realm. He's also got some Grail Knights. He's also got two Paladins on Pegasus, and a Grail Reliquary there, and they're being led by the Fey Enchantress. So pretty busy army this, and also over here he's got a flanking force of a couple of mounted Yeoman Archers, which is great for him because I didn't bring any ranged units. So that's a bit of a pickle. Also, these guys are slow as hell, so I'm never going to be able to chase them. So I'm just going to have to get shot. So that's my strategy: get shot. Also, no shields. Yeah, so ranged units are going to do well here. The Yeomen, they're gonna really pay for themselves. Yeah, you'll see just how much they pay for themselves at the end. Actually, it's pretty impressive. So yeah, so start move up, and he starts to move back because he realizes that these guys can just shoot, you know, as long as they want. So he just moves away, which. It's very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. Because also these guys are going to get very tired out, just, you know, running across this whole area. So so I see he sends his cavalry over that way, so I send my cavalry this way, because I'm quite happy for him to charge into here and get swarmed by Savage Orc Biggins. So I want to keep my cavalry safe for when, you know, we engage, and then I can, you know, react to where he charges with them. Hopefully, you know, pen them in. So that'll be nice. So, you know what, I'm going to speed it up again, because it's just silly. So, so keep shooting me, keep shooting me, keep shooting me. So I'm moving up, and he's just going to keep backing up until he ends up right in the corner. It's a bit ridiculous. At one point he does, I think fairly soon, he does sort of feign a charge over here, so I just pull back towards my Savage Orcs. So, you know, if he does decide to charge me with cavalry, my Biggins can get in there and capitalise. So you can see here, though, you know, these guys still half ammo. They've done about half damage to a unit of Savage Orcs. Bit of damage to my Biggins, but generally, you know, not great. Not great, really. So, so yeah, let's go normal speed. So, yeah, getting there. Ugh, what a hassle. So, so anyway, so yeah, I mean, he's got pretty cool front line. He's got a lot of, you know, pretty varied infantry, and obviously he's got, you know, the peasant bowmen in the back. They'll be able to stay in the back quite well if he pens himself in. But, you know, the leadership isn't great, so if I make a few of them run away, then they're going to be off the map very quickly. Maybe that's what he's trying to do with me, because obviously he's got some good units, sort of precision strikes. So, and he's got the Grail Reliquary, you know, buffing everyone, so in a tight formation, that's going to, you know, really help keep people in the fight. Also, you know, the Fey Enchantress, she's going to have that aura, which will damage my guys, and she's got life magic, so she can heal people up, so that'll be quite good. Here, though, she's about to come in with a Comet. I think aiming for my Savage Orc Biggins, really, but she misses, because I see it coming. I wasn't actually moving that far in anyway, so they wouldn't have hit, even if I hadn't moved, so that's handy. So now, finally getting the charge. I'm going to try and send some units round the back, and he's going to have to try and plug up that hole with his cavalry, which is good. So I try and make sure I've got more Savage Orc Biggins on this side. But yeah, still getting shot in the back by these guys. That's really not good, being shot in the back. That's not going to be good for morale, you know? So, you know, trigger War, and Trixie Trap, Stand Your Ground, Spite the Bad Moon, everything, basically. And also, so they've got Itchy Nuisance on them. So that's good news, it's hitting their cavalry a bit. So I've got some normal Savage Orcs, I've also got these Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins, and some Savage Orc Biggins charging at the back. So they should be able to do some pretty significant damage. The Knights of the Realm got anti-large, the Grail Knights are just, you know, really tough fighters, but they're generally, you know, good for sort of cycle charging. So, so here you can see my Savage Orcs in the middle got fought off pretty quickly by this charge of foot squires, but they are taking damage. Here, he gets Paladins on Skarsnik, which is very clever. Because, you know, getting rid of him, my whole army would just run off, basically. Because you see, morale isn't actually great across the board, mainly because of these bloody archers. But yeah, so I get these guys to charge in, get on these paladins. But, you know, Skarsnik's very good anti-large, so should be able to do serious damage to the paladins. Also, you know, I trigger the Spite of the Bad Moon as well, which gets these man-at-arms out of the fight. So now I've got a few more units to play around with over here. Although you see these Savage Orcs and things, they're not really getting in very well. I didn't do very well charging them in. So here I saw my Savage Orcs wavering, so I moved them back a bit, because sustained fights with Knights of the Realm is a bad idea. So Skarsnik's still doing great. The paladins are getting healed up as they're fighting. I've got some more guys, you know, I'm pulling out these guys to get another charge in. And hopefully I can do some damage on the charge. But you can see Skarsnik, he's doing pretty well, you know, to say he's getting ganged up on like that. So, not great though, he has taken a lot of damage. So over here I've got some more guys running away, but you know, his front line is taking a hell of a beating. And so is mine. It's looking pretty close right now. So I get these Savage Orc Ballboy Biggins in here, but yeah, he sees them coming. So they're taking so much arrow fire. I was hoping just to shut these guys down really quickly. But even that charge, it doesn't kill a lot of them, and the morale is really holding, which is not good for me. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to chase these guys off. So that's a real pity. But I was going to charge into the back of these guys originally, try and break these guys. But he had a load of spearmen here, and I didn't want to charge into spearmen. So there you go. Yeah, he's chased them off, which is terrible for me. Over here, so I've got these other Savage Orc Biggins a bit knackered, so I decided to charge into these guys while they're not paying attention. Unfortunately, though, again, they're just so damaged. So I've got these guys as well coming back. The Savage Orcs. They're a long way off though. And I've got these other Savage Orcs. Hopefully I can get them into contact before they're killed. But yeah, he does really well with his archers. He's really paying attention to any flanking maneuvers. So that's great news. So Paladin finally chased off. And you can see, you know, the middle here is shaking quite a bit. Same on this side. He's taken serious damage. So that's really good news. So also the Spearman's arms here, they're taking a lot of damage. You know, to say these guys, you know, really expensive units of his. I've just been fighting a couple of Savage Orcs on the side. They've taken so much damage. So there, very annoyingly, I try and get Skarsnik's Prodder on the Fey Enchantress. I go and hit all my own units instead. So that's very irritating. So yeah, I just can't believe how much damage they've taken. It's fantastic. So really good for me there. But yeah, his infantry actually did really well holding me off. Surprisingly so. I think it helps that he had the Fey Enchantress healing people out. So, you know, that always helps. Here, though, he's got a Paladin just, you know, fighting Savage Orc Biggins, which isn't a good idea. And now I'm getting Skarsnik in to try and get rid of that Reliquary. Hopefully it'll do it. So here you can see I'm finally on his archers, and they're starting to break, so that's great news. The Fey Enchantress is coming in here to help the fight, because you can see this is looking a bit dire. A lot of his units have got very little health. And yeah, I'm running off most of his units in the bag, so that's great for me. So at this point I was thinking, yeah, it's in the bag. But I didn't take into account how successful this charge would be of theirs. So, you know, I've almost ran off all of his knights here. That's amazing. But then, just this charge in the rear, that's enough to break a couple of my units. And then suddenly these guys see people running, so they start breaking. Which is awful. My whole army just falls apart because of these bloody mounted yeomen, who are terrible. They're absolutely awful, but he's managed to tip it over the edge here, which is really impressive. So I've got Skarsnik in this fight. You know, I've still got a few units knocking around. I've got these guys chasing people off. Yeah, just Savage Orcs though, I think. Yep, no Biggins left. So really terrible. So I'm trying to use as many buffs and things as I can. You know, trying to get these guys back in. I think they do get a successful charge. But, you know, with Skarsnik there, his morale is getting hit so badly, and I don't have stand your ground or anything to use. I'd used them earlier on. So, really annoying. Should have held one of those in reserve, really. I should have kept a better eye on, you know, people's leadership gauges. Because, honestly, if I had any leadership buff while that was happening, I could have used it, and my army would have stayed put. Which would have been amazing. So, you can see, though, the amount of damage they've taken. So, yep, there we go. Valiant defeat. And that was definitely valiant. I think that was a fantastic battle. So close. I mean, his army was all but running away, but he just had a couple of units that held in there. And, yeah, just the charge from those healthy units of mounted yeomen in the rear, that was enough to tip it over the edge. Which is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I mean, cheap units like that to be able to swing it. Because, honestly, if he didn't charge them in, I would have won, I reckon. Skarsnik could have killed all their heroes, you know, pretty easily. I still had so many Savage Orcs in that fight. I probably had about, I don't know, 300-400 guys stood there fighting that all ran away at the end. So, absolutely insane. Savage Orc Ballboy Biggins didn't really do much, honestly. I think I would have been better off. I could have spent, for the cost of one of these, they're 1,000, I could have got two goblin big bosses on spiders. And they would have been so much more useful, because I could have actually just had them run around the back, harass things, you know, but I didn't have the maneuverability on any of my units to chase anything down. And yeah, so a couple of goblin big bosses, and I could have had that in the bag. You know, I could have charged them round the back, attacked his archers. His archers would have got nearly, you know, not nearly as many kills, and yeah, I wouldn't have constantly been having them peppering my guys and lowering my leadership. Because yeah, people don't like being shot. They really don't. So yeah, that was tough, very annoying. So these guys were a waste of money, I think. Because yeah, I couldn't get a good surround on his Grail Knights or anything like that. So I couldn't get a good charge of these guys really. I mean, they helped against the Paladins. I'm pretty sure they probably saved Skarsnik's life, but yeah, it just, I don't know, they didn't pay off. I think the Goblin Big Bosses would have been better. If I had a couple of Goblin Big Bosses charging these guys, I could have taken them out far quicker. So that's a real pity, I think. Yeah, just not well spent, I don't think. Shouldn't have bothered. If I'd got 2 Goblin Big Bosses with the cost of this guy, and then just even some Goblin Archers for the cost of these guys, I could have shut these guys down, and started, you know, peppering random units. You know, I could have got some Archer Fire on the Fey Enchantress. She was just sat in the back, completely safe. So I mean, I could have got my Goblin Big Bosses on her later on. So that's the annoying thing. I just didn't have anything maneuverable, and I didn't have any range. So I was hoping just that, you know, the shock of getting hit by all this would just crumble the infantry line, and I'd have enough big uns to fight off the cavalry. But unfortunately, they just held. They just held for far too long. So yeah, really impressive match. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, hopefully I'll have some more battles like it. Because these kind of battles, I really don't mind losing, because it was so close. It was literally just, you know, a couple of things swung it, which I think was really fun. But yeah, not the most competitive army that I brought. Definitely a couple of holes in there. I mean, if he'd brought just like spent most of his money on like Pegasus Knights or something, he could have just charged in, killed Skarsnik in, you know, 2 seconds flat. You know, killed the Shaman, then the rest of the guys would have ran away. But yeah, I just didn't have the maneuverability, so that's a real pity. But you know, he did get a lot of kills. I mean, if you look at the armies, he actually brought more men than me, and yeah, he lost significantly more. So you know, I've got more of my army remaining, really, proportionally. So it just shows how close it was. So yeah, really enjoyed it. I'm sure I've gone on long enough about how much I enjoyed this battle. If you guys did, then please comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next battle. Have a good one, guys.